October 16, 2024. We're in the Civic Center, and we have Elder Pauline Rukovishnikoff, Michael Crone, Garrett Pletnikoff, and myself, Aquilina Lestonkoff. Is it okay if we record you, Pauline?
Yes.
Oh, good. Okay. So maybe if we start just can you tell us, or please tell us, about your name, if you had any nicknames, and, about being born and your family, brothers, sisters, mom.
Well, my family called me Polly.
Mm.
And when other people call me that, I says, call me Pauline. I says, only my family in my immediate house call me Polly, and my aunt and uncle. Yeah, that's about it. Yeah.
And what's your parents' names? And
My mom's name is Uliana Imenov Ostikov. My dad is Dmitry Peter Ostikov. Just recently I found out they had a grandpa that lived in St. George. Lawrence Lestonkoff is supposed to send me the paperwork. I haven't received it yet, so I got to make a phone call or let him know I'm going to be in Anchorage end of the month.
I did notice that the Ostikoff name started in St. George.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know. We heard about it through my brother Peter, the oldest one.
And so you have he's the eldest.
He's
Peter.
the eldest,
Other
yes.
brothers and sisters?
Yeah, many other.
Yeah. What were their names?
There was Trofima after him, Clement, Philip, Constantine. The ones I didn't see was Anna, Dmitri, the baby, he died in Funter Bay. Anna, Dmitri. There was one more, I don't know the names. We've never seen pictures of them. So, when we first saw that my mom had a cushion name, we thought she was married before, but we never find out that story. They had different last names. We found out with some of the family here in St. Paul Island. No, they weren't married before. That's another relative that was named like my mother-in-law, Francina. We thought she was married twice too, but we found out the girls were questioning me, the younger girls. No, not that I know. And then my husband was gone too, so that made things worse. I said, oh no. So things like that was happening up here. And that was part of why we had to be quiet as children. They never talked among us about problems. Our parents.
Left it with the adults.
Left it with the adults and kept it there. They talk in Aleut language of that. We couldn't understand them. Or when they take steam bath, the women talk with the other women in steam bath. The other ones, the men, with their boys, and the men. And then they told the younger boys, be quiet, you cannot talk about this. Because they were scared of the government agents.
Was there a steam bath by your house?
No. They went to the one by Sophie Stepton's house. I remember that because Dorothy and I played out, and we enjoyed playing out because we played with things off the land. And we tried to hide away from her mom. She'd catch us though. Her hair was long, and she'd drag us, and you girls have to take a bath, you're all dirty. She'd even wash our clothes in there, hang them, and we had to stay in there till they were dry. And then she said, you could play out now, you better come home clean. We never did. And when I say we played with things off the land, it was pieces of wood, seashells. Keep the can, we used canned milk. And for balls, we found old socks. Anybody have rubber bands? Everybody would check, okay, let me check my house. We found rubber bands, we roll it up, we play ante over by the house. And then we played games that our older sisters taught us. One was, I'm going downtown to smoke my pipe. And we didn't know what smoking was then. And
It was the
we
name
had
of
to-
a game?
it was a game. We had to stay under the eaves of the house on rainy days. On snowy days, we went under the... Back then, we had a lot of snow, all the way up to the eaves of the roof. We'd play in there. They said, oh, you could go home now. It's storming. We'd go outside, dig, make ice cream outside out of canned milk. And then we'd ask our moms. We couldn't take vanilla out. That's the only thing they had. Or as I know my mom had. And so we used that, and we had ice cream. For birthdays, we had homemade cakes and only ice creams. It wasn't electric. The dads had to put ice chunks in it. They got ice from, what's that place?
Ice House.
Ice House Lake, yeah. And you couldn't go in there. Only the men and boys did it. But one time I asked my dad, why do you guys say Ice House Lakes? I was the one that was talkative, or I asked questions. Just around my mom and dad, I was afraid of the other people, because they were strict, way back then. You knew you can't talk in front of the adults. When they come in to the house to have tea or coffee, they sat at the table. We had to play outside or play in our room. We'd ask to go outside so we could get fresh air. And our snacks, you want to believe it? It was puchkis in barrels. Cold water, no bugs in there, like the barrel you have out there. And they were covered. They made lid covers. They had covers on them, and they had homemade hand holders on it. Bugs never went in it. I remember it so well, so delicious.
Mm.
And we miss it now because sometimes we don't get puchkis. They're the Elliott celery.
You had other sisters.
Oh, I had, my sister was Natalia Rukovishnikoff Karjakin and Ileana Rukovishnikoff Sahara.
You have, and you're the only one right now that's
I'm
living.
the only one right now, and I used to ask why they call me spoiled. My mom wouldn't let me do what they were doing, cleaning the birds, and even in June, is it end of May or June, they pick those little birds too and pluck them and eat them. And seasonally, the winter birds, and
Or
for
chichikis.
winter and pre-winter and all that, they ate everything off the land. And seal line meat, seal, lakadak. They had to hide the lakadak.
Mhm.
And then they burn it, and some people would put it under their house and hide it. But I think government people knew, because they would see the chimney smoking. The parents used to cover the windows with the brown blankets, brown or gray blankets.
Army blankets.
Army blankets, yeah. And I thought it was interesting to see them eat that late. But we couldn't eat. I was the one that was spoiled. I'd go under the table and my mom would give me meat under there, less of meat. But my sister Julie and Darling, I call her Darling Natalia. That's all I knew her as until I found out her real name. But I thought that was the most beautiful life I had with my parents and family. They never said no when nobody knocked on the door. Come in, they'd say. They'd listen to the radio for baseball games, basketball games. My brothers and the Freitas boys his uncle, Garrett's uncles, would be in there having coffee and listening to it. And we had to be quiet. We couldn't be noisy, so we'd ask to play out. And it was so fun when they all came over, even the adults. They'd have coffee and whatever was on the table, on the stove, they ate. They said, "There's food. Did you eat?" My dad, or mostly it was my dad after my mom passed away. My dad just said, "Did you eat? There's food on the table. Plates are in the cupboard." And some of them try to wash their plates and dishes. Says, "No, you don't have to worry about the boys will do it."
It seems like you do that now.
Yeah.
You follow in your parents' footsteps with having food.
Yeah, I do that too. Seasonally, I'll give out bread and fried bread to the people when I see how cold it is outside. But this last time I was out from April till September. Had to get well before I get home. So I'll try to keep it that way.
The house Honey's house down here, is that the house you grew up in? When you were a child?
The
Is that
boys
house?
stayed all upstairs. Us girls stayed in the right room facing Dorothy's. My mom and dad was in the bedroom. Of course, they didn't have cribs back then, so we'd be sleeping by my mom and dad.
No wonder you're the spoiled one. And when did your parents pass?
My mom passed when I was 12 and a half. My dad, Tommy was a baby. He told Gabe Jr., take care of her. Make sure she gets everything. He'd always bring us... back then, Gabe was only working for government. He'd work during sailing. And he'd make just enough money to buy a carton of cigarettes, one box of bullets for his rifle, and then groceries. We were broke. And I wasn't working then. Up to this day, I don't want to eat tomato soup or cheese sandwich. I know probably some of the people had that too, or homemade clam soup, canned. And you started working. I started working out. That was heaven. I could buy what I wanted, get for the kids. I'd send them food, and Gabe was the one that sent them money. And if their grades were bad, I was the one that said, "No, you're not getting money. You're getting canned corned beef, canned Spam, crackers, soda crackers. You're not getting no soda pop. You could have Kool-Aid. You better be brushing your teeth. Put tooth brushes and Colgate in their boxes too."
Is this when they're in school off island?
They were going to school in Edgecombe. Yeah. All of them, but Gabe Jr. was Anchorage. Anchorage with his grandma, great aunt Martha Rukovishnikoff, Kinnisera. She knew when the young girls were knocking on his window too. She had good hearing. She'd use her rag, her towel, and scoot them away. And then I don't know what she did to that window, but I think she put a nail in it so that the window could only open that much. So he wouldn't run away either.
And how many children and you have and their names?
Who are we talking about? Great auntie or?
your kids?
Oh, my kids. Only when Gabe Jr. had two. One is living in Anchorage, the other one in Fairbanks, and they're her mom.
Oh, your grandchildren.
Oh, my
You're talking about your grandchildren?
Oh, yeah.
Tell about your kids and your names.
My kids only had 4. I told Gabe 4, and that's it.
You had 2 sons and
2 sons and 2 daughters, yeah.
You were equal.
Yeah.
2 plus 2.
Yes.
When did you start working as healthcare?
65, going on 66, yeah.
How did that happen?
Grandma found out I was taking home courses, and I went to school in Kansas. That pre-nursing was just like working up here, doing bed pans and fixing the beds and taking vitals. Yeah, you had to take them right to.
This was after high school for you?
Yeah, after high school, yeah. Year after. And then that was the most interesting trip I went down. I don't know what I was thinking. I traveled by myself from Reeves Aleutian all the way to Anchorage, and then I took a bus from Anchorage all the way to Kansas, and I stopped in different places, for snacks and when they had to fuel up the bus. And I didn't even think back then, you could, life outside of here I didn't know, but I said, I'm going to challenge this. I said, I want to see what it's like besides Mount Edgecombe. Sitka. And so the kids graduated from there except for Gabe Jr. Went to school 1 semester in Anchorage, and then he went to Wasilla and stayed with a couple. We got really close they were really nice.
What time of year did you take the bus when you went to Kansas? Was this at
fall.
Haskell?
Yeah, Haskell, Kansas, yeah. When I saw the buffaloes, I said, oh, we're getting close. I was reading about it, and I thought, once we see the buffaloes, we'll know I'll be close to that place.
Do you remember how many days it took?
About 4, maybe 5 or 6 days, yeah. Because back then they made a lot of stops so that you could get food and snacks. And it was so crazy. Back then, we could eat this and that food like hamburgers and hot dogs, stuff like that. I didn't think how bad they were, until after.
How long did you stay there?
I stayed there a year.
In a dorm?
Yeah, we had dormitories. We shared a room with 2 people. Yeah. And you couldn't get out. You had to clean your room. Excuse me. You had to clean your room, pass inspection. You had to fold those darn beds like with creases in the corners like someone's in army or something, It had to be perfect. And your floors, all the corners had to be clean. Your dressers, your lockers. And you couldn't have food open. Snacks they send you. My dad used to send me food from home too.
But not seal.
Comics even. Archie comics.
Were you the only one there at the time from
At
here?
the time we had Dora Lakanoff there, Stefanita Merkuliev, Matiska Kathy Bodakowski, Peter Bodakowski when he was in the priest, Carl Stepton, Mike Rukoff, I'm trying to, and some other kids from that went to school with them in Edgecombe and us. Because at that time there was high school, and then they were turning it over to college too. And what's the other one where they go to school for like nursing and all that? Upholstery, refrigeration, stuff like that. That's
like in the past? Or at Seward or
No. They were having that. They still have it now in Kansas. And I encourage some of these young people to go there because they could pay your way and pay your way back too. And
so they still have that program.
they still have that program.
I wonder if
like carpentry and all that there too.
Like a trade school.
And they were going to change it to one thing, but they decided they're going to just put everything all together. It was amazing. Then we went for our pass on weekends. We went downtown, and we were so close to St. Louis, Missouri, so we went by this one big, elegant store. It was, oh my gosh, taller than our hotel, maybe, gosh, tall, 14 feet. We were looking up there and said, oh, they're saying those are fur coats from St. Paul Island.
Wow.
Yeah. And at that time, we didn't even think to take pictures of it, you know. And then when they brought them up here and the girls were, I don't know if they had the show here or at the rec hall.
I was one
Julie
of those
Shane,
girls.
were you one of them?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like
I remember
modeling.
Julie Shane, yeah. Oh, that wild kid.
When you came back from Kansas, this time you flew on
Yeah.
the plane?
On the plane, yeah. I didn't take the bus. They flew us home all the way to Anchorage. And then from there we went to, not all the way to Anchorage, Seattle, Anchorage, yeah. And then it was Reeve Solution, or was it Pioneer? One of the two.
Yeah, Reeves. This was in the 60s.
Yeah, it's got to be Reeves, yeah.
Mhm.
And they should let the St. George kids come here too, and they have pictures of it. Have you seen that picture?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody
that's
standing by the
beautiful.
plane.
Yeah.
Everybody all dressed up.
It was
Dennis
back
Bortokowski
then. We were
talked about
dressing like Mrs. Kennedy. Those coats with only one button.
that. Above
We
the-
went to style with. He went to style with her. Went in style with her. I was sorry I didn't bring back coats like that from Russia. I was going to, because they're the ones I like without buttons. You know, they have buttons and clips on the inside. I was sorry I didn't get it. I'm waiting to go back one more time.
Mm. So did you stay in Anchorage, or you came back home after you left Kansas?
I came back home.
Mm.
Yeah. And then
Then
I
you
went
got
to school there, and then I came back home, and I decided I didn't want to live in Seattle with my cousins, because he wanted, Ted Imanov Sr., he wanted me to go to Army or something, and I told him, no, I'm not interested in that.
Mhm.
And his wife would always call on him, Nellie. She came up here too when he passed.
Mhm. This is Ted Jr.'s mom.
Yes,
Mhm.
yeah.
And Gladys.
And Gladys, yeah. Gladys still work at the school. I'm happy for her.
Mm-hmm. So after you came back, you got married?
Yeah, I was working at the coffee shop, and this one Coast Guard and Gabe, they were testing me. And I said, no, I don't want to go riding on a two-wheeler. And that, a lot of girls were going with them out there. And we'd hear things, things you don't want to hear. So I said, told Gabe, you could take me for a ride, but you gotta take me around the island. And he stopped at Sapitney. We had coffee and sandwiches. You know how the infrared sandwiches were back then? I try to let tribes start that.
Where you can heat them.
Yeah, they're better than microwave sandwiches.
Yes, because I used to work the oven down in the coffee shop to heat up those sandwiches.
At your mom?
No, at Alice.
Alice's?
The coffee shop she had right here by her father lives.
Yeah.
Poor boys or those.
Yeah, they were good.
Sandwiches.
They're better than microwave stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just like a little infrared oven, that's all it is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why they didn't invest in that.
They probably still make them. Unless they don't make the sandwiches anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, your kids were, which of your kids did you have when you started, what type of work did you start in with the clinic?
Oh, at the old clinic as a nurse aide, we had to do EMT 1 with that and go on calls with them. And then when you get to the clinic, you had to transfer into a nurse aide and do that work. And that was even more hard. That's 14 hours. So you got overtime. And the old telephone, the army type, you had to ring that to call the old hospital. I used to pray. I said, Lord, give me the strength to do this. You never know what you're getting into. And then you had to go by your health aid book. It was like your Bible. You did anything wrong, you went back to it. You couldn't get signed off without doing everything right by the PA, certified PA or nurse practitioner, or if a public health nurse was teaching you, same thing.
So it's kind of like on-the-job training.
Yeah, it is. That's how it starts. Yeah.
Who was the first provider or doctor you worked with?
Oh my gosh, there's so many. You seen that copy on the board at the clinic?
Oh, I haven't.
You got to see that.
There's like Newman, Diller, Humphrey.
Yeah, there's David Davalos.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a lot of history with us.
Right.
Dr. Midtoon was my last one. No, he wasn't really the last one. There was a couple Craddock's live in Sitka. I don't know if they moved. I don't hear from them anymore. But I know Craddock's were in Sitka. I heard the other one's working in A&MC Hospital. I don't know which area. He's used to work with us. I should have wrote his name down.
When you started working in healthcare, were they separate, clinic and hospital?
Yes, it was separate. We had to sterilize instruments the way they do it. I used to be scared of that big machine. Grandma Sophie Stepton was the one taught me how to do it. And then we had to make sure all those rooms were clean. The doors were never locked. outside door was never locked for emergencies and someone having baby. They'd have to get Dr. Peter Karjakin. I didn't know he was related to Gabe till after he passed. That was his uncle. He's related to the Karjakins, Moran and Grandma. What was Peter Karjakin?
Peter Jr.'s mom. Kukuchai.
Kukuchai, yeah.
Helen?
Helen's her
Helen
name, yeah.
Karjakin, yeah.
But a family of a priest, the Karjakin family adopted them, so their names were changed, and we never knew they were related.
Father George Karjakin
Mm-hmm.
was the priest.
Oh.
Mhm. Yeah. Did you work in the clinic side as well?
Clinic side we worked, and then you did x-rays in the basement. The old-fashioned way. Fixer and developer. 5 minutes each, and even if we wore shields, that's another story. No matter where you work, there's cancer everywhere. Even carpentry, electricians, all that. I was looking back into it, you know, how bad it was up here, the government, the cheap paint. There's a lot of people died from it up here, too.
Did patients have to
Families.
go in the basement for the x-ray?
They use the basement door
Mm.
because that wasn't good for those steps from upstairs to the downstairs. It was during the government time, a person was paid to make sure that furnace was working. First wood stove to electric. And the big monster too, used to be scared of it.
And then the dentist, when they came,
They went
in the hospital side.
Yeah, they were on the. That was way after. It used to be so crowded. The dental was that small room on the left side.
Right. There was a
Yeah.
waiting room,
Mm-hmm.
and then the dental.
Right there, yeah. They
And-
were scrunched up with just a tiny room and
Mhm.
just enough for them to sit on, you know, the patient.
Yeah.
So they had to close that door when people were waiting in that tiny little waiting room.
I did get to be a patient there, and those were the
Mhm.
times when they gave you a shot. They didn't
Uh-huh.
numb it up. You just had to feel the pain of the needle going.
Mm-hmm.
So you just continued
Continued my work there, yeah.
there and had your book
Yes.
and had the doctors and the health providers training you
Mm-hmm.
as you were going along. You said you were a nurse aide. Were you an aide? Who was the nurse that you were an aide for?
Sophie Septon.
Okay.
Yeah. And then Adesta Prokopiev came over when they had health issues, so her and her husband worked as janitor at our clinic, really good, clean worker. And she was just the same too. And I was so sad to see them go, you know, when Dr. Humphrey's wife chose me, because I learned more as a younger person, and I felt so bad when Odessa didn't get that supervisor position. I learned how to take shots from psychiatrist
Tori,
from East.
Dr. Tori.
Yeah, Dr. Torrey. Yeah. He says, Pauline, And he was showing me the different ways. There's straight in, there's sideways, and then another way. You gotta just do it right.
Mm.
So we were practicing, and then drawing bloods too is the same thing. Different doctors and nurses, you know.
I think at that time there was a health class that I was in the 8th grade, I believe, and we would go up to the clinic and practice drawing blood from each other, and also taking an X-ray and doing saline or just shots on each other.
Yeah.
They let us practice. Now they wouldn't.
We
do
can't
that
do
with
it.
kids
Yeah.
now. But I remember keeping that X-ray of my hand for a while. Had a funny bone, extra bone. I think it was Dr. Torrey.
Yeah.
Barbara Torrey, who wrote Slaves of the Harvest, her husband.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Her piano music was so beautiful.
Mm. Yeah, so you saw a lot of
I used to
doctors.
teach the health aides to draw blood on me, and I said, no. And then I'd strap myself and go like this. You could use a pillow, or you could put your hand down like this, depending on the size of your body, how big or small you are. So I'd show them, I'd take that needle, and then I'd wear gloves, and then I'd show them where that big vein is right here.
Mm.
And you could draw up here, but that hurts more.
Yeah.
My hands are skinnier now. You could really see my veins. And this is your snuff box.
Mm-hmm. I remember that. I probably learned the snuff box when I was that 8th grade.
Yeah. They can't draw on my right side because of my CA I have, and I'm still getting yearly checkups till it's over. They say you could get it back. And I said, I don't think so. If you believe in who's taking care of us from upstairs, will take care of you the rest of your life.
One of the other things that I remember if you can tell us about how you decided to teach Sunday school.
Oh, it was Father Michael came to our house to bless it. We were living in our first year in Sophie Stepton's old house. They got the new house over here by the pond. And back then I didn't care. I wanted to have our own place. I don't care if it was 2 bedrooms or not. So I said, yes. And then he was with only men choir, and they sounded beautiful. And they had VHFs, you know. And he looked at my husband and he said, Gabriel, he was standing by me. He said, yes, Father. And I was standing there. I was wondering, what is Father going to say? Did we forget something? I was thinking, you know. And back then, we didn't really know about putting money in envelope and giving it to them for blessing our homes. That's what our parents did, and my dad and mom didn't say anything about it. But I found out from Mary B. and them, and I said, he put it like this, Gabriel, I know your wife before you. Everybody looked, those guys' eyes were rolling around, and I wanted to shrink through the floor. What he meant was, I worked with your wife a long time from high school to Sitka, and they'd come and sing with us at Sitka Church. Sometimes we used to be late. We'd go get the hamburgers and fries before we go to church. Sometimes Matiskas would look at their thing like that. And then those ladies who were dangers. She's got beautiful voice. We got to keep her in there. And at that time I had high soprano. And I got scared. My voice just dropped when she said that. It was a crooked lady. And she said, she's got beautiful voice. We got to keep her here. And I was hoping they wouldn't tell Father Michael or Eugene after that. They did. we had to go to sing with the choir.
Were you at Mount Edgecombe when my dad was ordained?
Yeah, when he was ordained, after he was ordained, we all still went to his services. And then he said, we'll do more when I go home. He said that. That's all he said. I didn't know what he meant at that time. And then he told my husband, Gabriel, she knows a lot in church, and took her to Sunday school, asked her to do Sunday school. She said, Pauline, you don't need anything from for Sunday school. You don't need all those fancy things they have with classes and stuff. Anything comes up, you could ask me questions, or you could do the preschoolers and stuff like that. I felt better doing preschool in first year. And then she said, the books are here. All you have to do is make copies. You could make copies at the clinic or the tribe. I said, I think I'll feel better doing it at the clinic. And he said, everything is here. You don't have to go out of your way to have hard time teaching them. But I'd read before Sunday and catch up to all those things. And then Father would tell the other kids after communion, about why we're reading the Bible, why we're reading this. Garrett knows. So it all came together, and I had help. Daria Rukovishnikoff Dirks was a Sunday school teacher. Augusta Freitas Budrin for a while, his aunt.
I think Dad had
Dad,
the older
older kids, yeah, the high school kids. And I asked the priests when they come to take the older children, because sometimes if they go to church, they're not listening, and then they ask questions, and then before you know it, that hour's up. But I don't know if he taught over an hour.
Mm-hmm. Did you start teaching Sunday school in the old Sunday school building, or this one?
This present building, yeah. And the doors were never locked either. And then
Do you remember choir practices in there too?
choir practice there, and then in the church too. We had to come or kneel down in front of Virgin Mary icon. And the boys and men on the men's side to do that to the girls downstairs. You couldn't even move your head this way and look sideways or this way. Oh, you got hit on the head, or they twist your ears.
If we're seeing you.
It was Muka for me. Muka.
Mook was like that too, and once or twice I saw Uncle Paul Tito, but he was nicer than those other ones.
That was before Muka.
Yeah, before
Yeah.
Mooka, yeah.
Was he Star Stuff, Paul
He
Titoff?
used to turn candles off. I think he helped. Yeah, a lot of them used to help.
I remember him. He passed when I was a girl, so vaguely, but I do remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you were growing up, who was the priest here? Was it Baranov?
Father Baranov. Yeah. He was scary. And it was, who picked us for choirs was those ladies like Mary and Anna and them, Anna Lekanoff, and I think the guys were, even Catherine was in choir, but she quit.
She didn't want to listen to her mom.
Yeah. Gladys.
Oh, Gladys Filomorno.
Yeah. She's still the same. Once in a while, I'll bump into her and then we'll talk and laugh. And
Did they put you in the choir like in a group? Like you didn't just go by yourself?
no, we had to be by, like Mary
Yeah.
Rukovishnikoff.
But
She was real good.
You didn't like. You got picked and you were the only one. Other girls got picked.
No,
at
other
the
girls
same
got
time.
picked too, and we had to go upstairs.
Mm-hmm. I was picked too
Yeah.
by Dad.
Uh-huh.
Like myself and Carol Sweatsoff and Pachi, Helen and Anna. It was
Yeah.
like a group of us that were
Uh-huh. St.
selected.
George first?
No,
Up here?
yeah.
Oh.
I was 4 when we moved over here.
Oh.
For some reason, I remember Isaiah. I think when Dad was ordained, I was really little. I was a baby, 2-year-old,
Uh-huh.
3-year-old. And I do remember Isaiah Shablin
Uh-huh.
being one of the folks that came to the house wherever we stayed in
Oh.
Sitka.
Uh-huh.
I don't know why. I was really young.
Yeah. He went to Edgecombe too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was there when you were there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So into the 70s, into the 1980s, into the 90s, you were in healthcare all of those years here.
Yeah. And then we transferred over when the new building was made, and Florence and I cut the ribbon. Florence Krukoff stepped in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, she was supposed to be Rukovishnikoff then, and things happened. Yeah.
So you both were working in the old clinic
Old clinic, yeah.
at the same time.
Even Daria Hapoff Warner, Barbara Hapoff Sinich, yeah. There was a lot of them. Pauline Mizikin, I don't know if she got married, and she's already passed. But I heard her sister Sana's living in Seattle somewhere. I don't know her real name.
Sana's real name. That's her real name.
Sana, yeah. They had coffee shop there too. And Gabe stepped in.
Do you remember names of people that were born when you were working
Over there
in the old,
at the clinic? My niece, Angelina Cardigan Squire, had her boy there. She didn't want to go to Anchorage to have her baby. I said, I'm staying home and having my baby. My aunt is right here. Me and nighttime shift was Nadezhda Prokopiev, so she took care of them real well, too. And some people from St. George, too. I was just talking to her, going with Listenkoff. We came back on a trip. She told me how good it was, but she was scared. You know, she didn't know much people at St. Paul at that time, but she had her oldest boy there.
Oh, she had her oldest boy here?
Yeah. Andronik's daughter, I think.
Father Deacon Andronic and
Yeah.
Mark Ellis.
Yeah. What's the
their
daughter
daughter
over
or-
there living now with that Listenkoff boy?
Oh, Anastasia.
Anastasia, yeah.
Yeah. Wait, Hertha.
Birthday.
Yeah, Hertha Kashavarov. She's Clara Kashaverov's daughter.
Oh,
So she's Andronic and Ella's granddaughter.
is that the right one that's living with
Yeah.
Innokinti
With Todd.
Listenkoff Jr.?
Todd
Oh,
Leston.
Todd, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she had a baby here.
She had her oldest boy here. I saw him at a funeral for,
Recently in Anchorage.
before I came home.
Or was it for Dennis?
Dennis Dennis Lucanoff. His 40 days was already last week.
Mm-hmm.
So John and his Heidi and the kids went over. They're back now.
Mm-hmm.
Gonna eat fresh heart's tomorrow.
I'm jealous. You got it, huh? I saw that on Instagram.
I gave them bread.
Mm. Nice. Yeah. So what do you, with the times when you were growing up, could you talk about as you became a teenager maybe, what, in summertime, did you have jobs in the summertime when you came back home from Mount Edgecombe?
We worked as waiters at the old hotel here. 49 cents an hour.
What was that like?
It was, as crazy as we were teenagers, it was fun. I'd work, clean the dishes, we'd wash them by hand, and we'd kick John L. and that government agent out. Juno, what the heck was his name? Big head. Eno, big heavy fat guy. You guys get out of here now. We're going to clean up. We have to work at 4 o'clock. They pushed me to talk, those girls. And,
Who did you work with?
I worked with Gladys and who else was there? Oh my gosh, there was Snake Pit and that other room, Blue Room they called it. And
those were parts of the hotel or
parts of the
kitchen area?
The one didn't have windows. The Blue Room was the one with windows. Like they have the windows there now. Yeah. That other one was like a snake pit.
Where people sit and eat?
For the, what do you call it? Those guys from St. Louis, Missouri, learning how to get the skins all cleaned and everything. They took the fat and everything off of them. And then they were processed. Some of them, I think, at the, what they call that building across there. They used to have it across from, on the lagoon. I almost said it and I forgot it. Byproducts, yeah. And
so you would be waiting on the government employees working sealskins?
Yeah.
For all their meals,
Yeah.
breakfast, lunch, dinner?
Yes, and after that I got transferred to work in the Blue Room. And John L. was so nice. He just loved my brother, Honey. He worked in the kitchen. Clement, they call him Honey. Pop up! I turn around. Oh, someone's calling on me. Yes, he'd get all red when John L. talked to him. You know, he was,
oh, Honey worked there
yeah,
too?
he worked there too with George Budakowski too. And then from the old building where the, what did they call that building across there?
From across from the post office? That BCF office used to be?
No, not them. People from the chain came up and worked too. From Nikolsky on Alaska and the chain. My uncle Bill Ermeloff.
They had a dorm.
Yeah, they had
across from the
dormitory.
clinic?
Yeah. When he started working there first, and then they got transfer him over to the other building. George and I think it was Arthur Happa, Fickla's husband, worked there too, and talked to John.
In the company house.
Yeah, company house
Was
taught to John, I remember. But that first old building where those, they were feeding those people from...
Like a bunkhouse.
Bunkhouse. I don't know what
Was that across from the clinic?
Yeah, that was across from the
Next
clinic.
to the barn. There
Yeah.
used to be a barn there.
Anyway,
So
they got to know those people.
Did they So the people that came up from the chain stayed in the bunkhouse across from the clinic.
Mm-hmm.
But the St. Louis Folk for Boys
They
stayed in the
ate
company house.
company
so they
house,
kept
yeah.
them separate.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yes.
That was in your lifetime.
Yes. Yes.
Mm.
Uh-huh. And our people got to know them, so they eat at some of the people's homes too, to try some native foods like sea line birds and stuff. I remember my uncle, Bill Ermeloff. I don't know how he was related to me, but through the Imanoffs, my mom was Imanoff. So us girls had to sleep on beds they borrowed. They were like old army beds. They were made out of like canvas, and we had to sleep
Like
on
a
them.
cot.
Cot, yeah.
Mhm.
Julie and Darling.
In your
But
house?
I slept in my house when they were there summertime.
Oh, because they would come stay at your house?
Yeah, they'd
Oh,
stay
okay.
in the girls' room. I don't know where they got double bed for them, but they got it.
Mm.
So people used to, lend things out back then, not like now,
Mm-hmm. You had talked about talking on the phone, and I forgot what it was about, but so when you started working in the health center, if there was an emergency in your home, there wasn't phones then. There's CBs.
Yeah, we had to use those handheld radios.
Mm.
Yeah, on a different channel. But the whole community knew.
Mm.
Oh, there's one fisher boat coming in, and some of them would go to the dock and get crab from those people. Back then, they just gave them out. One time we had a whole back yellow truck Gabe used to have. That was all full of king crab. We had to give it out. We didn't have enough freezer space back then. And we just went by people's homes and asked if they want crab. We were glad when we just had enough to keep in our freezer, the refrigerators.
So the do you still have a VHF radio?
Mm-hmm.
You still have one?
I have a base unit I got from Jessica and Ralph.
Mm.
And it's not hooked up yet,
Oh, okay.
but I want to hook it up. Dorothy was saying, I'll hook mine up if you hook yours up. You better, I told her. You're hard to get a hold of.
She doesn't answer her phone.
Yeah,
I
she's
can't
got
hear.
2 or 3 phones. She gives phones to her grandkids and her sons, both sons.
Mm.
She said, oh my gosh.
So the what was your call number for VHF, or if you had one in your house? Were you a KRU?
Gabe used to
Were you
use,
a KRU?
I'm
Like
trying to say,
My
yours,
dad's was KPU 0127.
yeah, and Uncle's was 5215 in the Kinties.
Oh.
KBL 5215.
Yes, that is right.
I think he used Smackers.
Who was
Gabe.
Who was KRU 0127? Was that George? Your
127.
brother-in-law?
Maybe, yeah.
There was a KRU 0127
Oh.
and a KPU 0127. I just
Oh.
remember people better pronounce it well. It's before phones.
Yeah, and the kids used to use KBL 5215.
Mhm. Do you remember any other?
Gosh.
Did your in-laws? I remember them calling George and Gallies in the morning before school
Oh.
to talk to the grandkids.
Kids. Oh.
But their kids are older than a little bit older
Yeah.
than your kids.
Mhm.
So by the time your kids got older, they probably weren't using.
They weren't using them, no.
Yeah.
They didn't.
Yeah.
There was phones then.
And then the clinic was probably one of the first places to get a phone
Yeah.
when phone service started here.
Before you used to use those wind-up old army Phones go upstairs, away from the doctor's quarters.
Mm.
It used to be separate from
What
there.
would it call on those? Where
They
did
called them army phones. I don't know.
But who would you call on them?
The doctors at the old A&MC hospital. Or
Oh.
help, yeah.
Huh.
If you were by yourself.
Mm.
And otherwise, if you had a PA or nurse practitioner there, they'd help you, sign you off. You have to do everything.
Mm.
And they'd help in the ER rooms over there, yeah.
Mm.
But it's a little bit different now. They going through, what is it, Fairbanks or where? Some village to call their emergencies.
Oh, without having with the 911 from
911
public
calls,
safety goes
yeah.
to Felby's. I don't know, Homer. I don't know.
I don't know, one of those places,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's dangerous.
Yeah. It's kind of like how it was when you first started.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe people. I would hope people would be careful.
Yes. I get scared when I hear those four-wheelers, three-wheelers riding without lights after midnight. You could hear it on my side because they try to go in the sand dunes and go back there.
Mm.
So, I don't know how they get a hold of that lady. She's only here 2 weeks from Falls Pass.
Mm-hmm.
That's not good.
Yeah. When you moved in that house, that road used to be open, Sandy Lane,
Mhm.
right? People would be able to drive either way.
Thanks to neighbor down the street when he was city manager, he let them close that off. We were happy.
Mm.
Right next door to that
Yeah.
electrician.
I think it
building.
wasn't a public road.
Mm-mm.
That little road by my house, by
Uh-huh.
the church school,
Yeah.
it's not a road,
Yeah.
a mapped road either.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Do you remember when the church school was being built?
No.
Probably.
Way before.
You probably were pregnant.
No, it was way before that. Way
Ah.
before that. Yeah, I don't
'Cause
know.
I remember.
It was, I heard it was Maxim Budrin, Perfina Pletnikoff, your grandpa, and John Merculio,
Mm.
and Gabe, and Donita's husband, Nikifor, were just starting to do carpentry work under them.
Okay.
And one of the Freitas boys, I don't know which one. I don't know if that kid is alive or
Mm.
here yet.
So Gabe was a carpenter.
Helper, yeah. He didn't get training for it though, just under them, under the elders.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them did with different works up here. Carpentry, electrician, all that.
Yeah. And Honey was a painter.
Painter, Trofim, Philip, yeah.
They're older than you.
They're way older, yeah.
Oh, you were the baby?
Yeah, I was the baby at that
That's-
time. Now Helen's the baby. She's 6 years younger than me. And she's adopted. She's actually my niece,
Mm-hmm.
my older sister's baby.
Yeah.
Parents knew what to do. They knew how they were going to be treated and everything.
Yeah.
So,
what you were talking about, when people come over, there's food on the stove if somebody needs to eat. As you were growing up, main meals were at lunchtime?
yes.
Yeah.
And then they ate. They made that pot never finished. There was tea on the table, red rose. I remember that red rose, and then coffee. It was always Folgers, and then some. Until they started getting that new store from by across from there.
The canteen.
And then, no, actually the canteen was up here
at first,
first,
Mm.
yeah. And then we had that jukebox room, and then the gambling
in the rec hall.
in the rec hall where that officers have their restroom. As you come in
That
the
was
door
the
on the
cards
left
room?
there, card room, there was, I remember seeing Maxim Budrin and Paul Titoff giving haircuts. I don't know what they
Didn't
charged.
they really even have a barber
Mm-hmm.
pole there?
Barber pole, and I still have that mirror Grandma left in the house, Grandma Sophia. It's in Jessica's house now, next door. Just getting around.
What was the mirror from?
They were
From the barber.
barber store, yeah,
Oh.
up there. They had two big mirrors over there, and we have one of them yet. I don't know when that was built either. But we were scared as young kids, and until when we were teenagers, we learned how to do different kind of dances, rock and roll and everything.
Was there a band?
Waltz.
Who were the musicians?
Musicians were your brother Maxim Rukovishnikoff and Agaphon Krukov. They started with a little speaker, and they used to hang it. And they had lights. I don't know what they made the lights out of. Maybe it was for the lights they used to work outside for plumbing and stuff like that. But they used it and it worked.
In the jukebox room? Or
No, it was in their own little room they started. I don't know.
the stomp room?
Stomp room, yeah, that was the stomp room.
Mm.
I still call Carrie Ann's mom. Her name for the band, yeah.
Oh, Bombay Lady.
Bombay Lady and the Boogie Band. Yeah.
I was just talking about that last week.
And I message her, and I once in a while will pop up and talk to each other's on there. And Carrie Ann.
You worked in the clinic when she was starting
Yeah,
too.
she was starting. Yeah, she was
Yeah.
working. Jema was working too. But Jema quit when there was a real bad death. Her friend, you know, working on that road, Hull Road down there.
Mm. Yeah. How many years did you work?
Gosh, I don't know how many years, but she worked a long.
No, you.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
I worked till he passed 91, 92, around there.
From
Yeah.
1965?
Yeah, about 65, yeah.
Mm.
So, and they didn't want me to quit because I connect real good with the elders and did stuff for them. I used to even have their meals there in that corridor. Real meals.
In the new clinic.
In the new clinic when Aunt Suzanne were here.
Mm. So then that was in the late 90s?
Mm-hmm.
You were still
Yeah.
over there.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what the cutting the ribbon. You and Florence cut the ribbon over
In
there.
January.
Was it in 2000?
When it first opened. I should have looked at the dates. I didn't look through my papers.
Yeah. Because I married, and my mom passed in 2000. And then my dad in 2003, and I feel like there was different clinics. So I don't know,
No,
maybe it was
she-
somewhere between.
She was It was the new clinic with your dad.
Yeah.
Because I came up here.
And the old one with my mom.
Yeah.
Because
I don't remember your mom passing. Maybe I was
it was
in
2000.
school or out somewhere.
It was June 2000.
Mm.
But that year she broke her hip, and I remember it care for her was in the old clinic.
Old clinic.
Yeah.
Okay. They must have let her in from the basement door.
I think they had that back door.
Back
The
door,
ambulance
yeah.
would come in through under that bridge.
Uh-huh. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that was good.
When they moved over to the new clinic from this old clinic, I always thought that old clinic would be good for a spook house for Halloween.
Mm.
Go in through the entrance and
Oh.
have to walk
Yeah,
all the
I
way.
thought of. I told them to ask the government to give it to homeless, because there was kitchen stuff there and it was remodeled
Mm.
from after they connected both buildings, and then they remodeled the doctor's house too,
Mm-hmm.
because there was kitchens and units on both sides, and they could have rooms for counseling and stuff. But that didn't happen.
Mm.
Biff Baker was taking care of it. I don't know what happened there. He's still working at the clinic from the old one.
So, for nowadays, do you have any concerns about the community, or are there some things that you're really glad about our community?
Concerns I have right now is respect for elders, respect for your parents, respect for your family, like your aunts and uncles. We were taught during my time, always respect your aunt and uncle, your brothers and sisters, your relatives. You can't talk back to them. You see them in public, you give them a hug or a kiss, no matter what condition they're in. If some are taking this or that, you know what I mean? Say, hi, how are you doing? How's it going? People used to ask me, how do you take it? You're working in the clinic? I take it one day at a time, I told them. And my prayers from my heart. Always pray from your heart for that next person, no matter what conditions they're in. I said, we're no better than you or you or you. Always. You got to have respect for that. I saw one girl, and looking mean, eating at the table. I went to a relative's house. I said, good afternoon, everybody. Jolly me. And keep my mouth shut now. What's the matter, baby girl? Are you okay? Oh, I'm just mad. I'm mad at my uncle. I said, why are you mad? You're not supposed to be mad at your relatives, your aunt and uncle, your mom and dad. If anyone has problems, they work it out. Dad was sitting there, the girlfriend was sitting there. I said, you have to respect them. You can't talk back to them. Going like this. Take her food. This is like 1:30 in the afternoon. And took her plate to the sink. Everything was washed. The lunch was already served, and they cleaned up in my relative's home. She put her dish there. She didn't try to dump whatever was left in there and wash the dish and the silverwares. She looked mean and didn't say anything. Didn't say thank you. Thank you for the lunch or anything. Just took things for granted. Went to the basement where she was staying. And then the dad says, Pauline, I don't correct her. I said, how do you expect her to learn to respect aunts and uncles, even you as a dad, and her mother? I don't understand. The girlfriend didn't say anything. My relative didn't say anything, but she was ready to talk or say something if I got picked on. I said, oh my God, in this day and age, I saw that and I said, oh my God, what are our children learning at home? What's happening to our village? I'm glad my parents taught us respect, love one another. That food never finished on the stove. Tea never finished. They always put more water in it. And coffee. And when my husband passed, Matuska Kathy Barkowski saw that. It was for a relative right on Gabe Jr.'s birthday. I don't know why, but I made 2 fish pies. What else did I make? I made something else. It wasn't seal meat or seal. Back then, you know, people are picky. Now we eat everything. Potato salad, macaroni salad. Salad greens were the last ones. And I made a big pan of pumpkin pie, apple pie, chocolate cake, tarts. Tarts are always there because that's how we were taught. That was our desserts with jam in it way back, you know, as we were growing up. I still make those. And our poor man's salad is mixed veggies. We always had that. I still fix it at my dinners, like New Year's, Christmas, birthdays. I said, always have that poor man's salad there. You never know when we're going to go hungry again. I heard stories where leftover frosting, homemade frosting, was dessert on regular soda crackers, graham crackers. You're lucky if you got the other crackers, you know, the hard ones.
Pilot bread or?
Oh, pilot bread we had. That was our snacks during Lent, you know. I still keep it on my table for Lent. Like canned sardines or tuna. Those we still have. So my children know what to fix during Lent. Even Gabe Jr. fixes it. When we have communion, he cooks the chicken and whatever we have there. And make sure that before we were using dishes, now it's only for Christmas and New Year. What happened? We're using paper plate. Oh, less dishes. But so they all know when in Wasilla, when we have dinners for Christmas and New Year, we use plates, and then the priests that we invite, who's there, and some relatives, they sing, how come there's real dishes for them and then paper plates for the ones that we know? I said, because you know. And it's overrated now, you know, because you could buy desserts from all the restaurants and all those coffee places.
Yeah. It's so convenient.
Yes. And we were happy even in weddings, you know, that's all we had. Fish pies and ham and No, you could even bring seal meat and sea lion or lakadag and crab, halibut, salmon. Salmon was a delicacy. I make it now too. When I take it, I give something like they always want seal meat or lakadag, and I'll give it to them to trade off for salmon. I'll take it into Anchorage with me and in the valley.
So, looking back over your times, I enjoyed hearing you talk about your times from Kansas all the way up here. What would you say, what would you tell people now about living like a happy, successful life? What is that to you? Living a happy, successful life.
In my world with just Helen and Gabe now, that is my life here. And then when I see the elders or view the people over there at the senior cafe, before I was trying to correct a niece, but that wasn't good for confession. And I said, "Excuse me, I didn't know that, because there's a lot of things you don't know in the community. Like, some of them know everything that's going on in the community." I said, "No, I don't want to hear that." I said, it might be something that was said here and there and got out of whack, And I told him, "Sorry, I don't want to hear that." So that's happening here. And I don't like looking down on people because of how it is, There's a lot of changes here. And I told them, no. I tried to correct this one person. I said, "No, we can't do that." And it's not good. So I'm trying not to.
So do you have like any, you went to Mount Edgecombe, you went to Kansas, you've lived here, and in regards to living somewhere else or living here, do you have any regrets?
No regrets. I even went to New York and Russia. I'd love to go back to Russia again after everything's built back, seeing those pictures and all the Holy Lands. On to even Northern California, where you see where your vegetables are grown, and then you see all the different animals of cows. They're pasteurized and everything, and given food off the land, not preservatives and shots and stuff like that. And then you go to the forests. What's the name of that place?
The redwoods or
yeah, redwood and all that. And then they had a fire there. We were so lucky after we left. You could get lost in that place. But there was only one guide when we went there. What is that place? You remember that one? Where it has all the forests and...
You're thinking of Yosemite?
Yosemite, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, a park. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a real big park. It's just so beautiful. You have to live in... go to those little villages around that area to rent a room, and we were like tourists. Alice and her husband, my niece Alice, and her daughter was young then too. We had to watch her.
Did Labuva live in California too?
Yeah, she died there near the ocean. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
I
okay.
still keep in touch with Dora. And Nikki
Dora
Boozy's in New
Kennedy?
Mexico.
Dora Kennedy now. Huh?
Yeah, she's Kennedy.
She and my
She's-
sister Jean were good friends.
Yeah, said she always miss her.
Mm.
Pray for her. She's not well either. She's
Mm.
on oxygen.
Is she in Montana?
Montana, yeah. I have her address if you need to
Yeah.
talk with her.
I should send her a
Or-
card. I
yeah,
enjoyed.
a card.
I enjoyed. She came when Alex passed
Mhm.
away, and I think I picked her up and assisted her while she was here,
Mm-hmm.
and largely be just knowing her. and
Yeah,
Jean
Dorothy
were-
really fed her well with
Mm.
seal meat and Z with Lesta.
Mm. And then you keep in touch with Nikki Boozy too.
Mm-hmm.
I left to. We were in a meeting last week, and I went to the bathroom. I think, or I lost focus, but there was an audio. Moses Dirks recorded him. I think visited with him,
Really?
and to
Oh.
get some of the language from the Purple
Oh,
Offs.
with him,
Yeah,
wow. Oh, he speaks it fluently, that Elliot.
Yeah.
He said he's starting to forget some words too. Oh, a lot of
Mhm.
words.
Do you know how he got
Dora.
that nickname, Nikki Boozy?
His adopted
Philemon
parents,
Offs,
Eof and
yeah, Catherine
Catherine. Yeah.
called him that.
Yeah.
Ah.
Because she's going to go to church all the time. I think it's time to go now. Booze, Nicky Boozy. He called him that now. He was, oh, you guys never call me by my real name. Because that's Nicky Boozy.
You left her as Nikki Boozy, and you
Yeah.
stayed Nikki Boozy after you left.
You could get his address from Dora.
Mm.
She has his phone number.
Okay. I don't know if my brother
They were going to try to connect your oldest brother.
Nick
Yeah.
with
With them. And he didn't remember Lawrence, Maguga's son, the oldest one. So I was surprised he didn't try to call you or message you.
hmm,
You got to let him know.
who's that?
Lawrence. I don't know what they call him at St. George. I only know him as Lawrence. He's my
Laurenti?
Lavrenti.
Laurenti, yeah.
He's my other son from another mother.
Mm,
He used to come by us all the time
yeah.
when he come through.
Jeez, I forgot his wife's name
And my
already.
little mama.
Lawrence and she starts with M. Lawrence
Maguga?
and- No, Lawrence's wife's name.
Um,
Their Tamara is their daughter.
She's got two daughters.
Yeah,
only.
Tamara. and
They're
Tamara.
there too.
One is same age as Katya.
Oh,
Katya would when she went
they
over.
live in that big trailer park behind Diamond Center.
Oh,
They just got another trailer, so and then a couple more rooms
Marge.
in it. Yeah,
Is that
Margie. Yeah, she worked in eye clinic in the corner at
Mm.
A&MC. She retired from there now.
Mm,
Yeah.
I liked how she battled. Well, she battled cancer, and she
Mhm.
did it with her spunk and
Yeah, everything.
yeah.
Yeah.
She's a very happy-go-lucky person.
Mhm. She is. She
Yeah.
crocheted
Oh yeah,
tablecloth for
She
me.
was really good at that. She would do the. Is she the one? She's the one who made the for Ethan and Katya when they got married to stand on.
Uh-huh.
She crocheted
Oh, wow.
that.
Who got it?
Probably Laura. I don't
Laura, yeah.
know. Laura's probably got a lot of those.
Yeah.
She's always stood in the right place
Mhm.
in the church to reach under and pull it when the married couple
She
walks
made one
away
for
from
Christmas for me. I got to take picture of it.
Mm.
I told the kids, I'll be here for American Christmas, but I'm going home for Rostispa, I told them. I want to see the choir sing. I was happy Tommy let you all in.
Mm.
And then we had that.
That's right.
We had the dinner at the house in the storm. You were there.
Yeah.
And then a baby starting to really look like Dad
Yeah.
in the family.
Yeah. Okay. Geez,
That's it,
Pauline.
huh?
Yeah.